You are
so
so
excited.
This is reading between the lines. Okay, this is your first time listening. You've missed out because every freaking episode Emma talks about what we're about to talk about, and we have a whole episode for it. So I'm just gonna shut up and listen because I don't have a lot to say.
I made a notes list.
Of course you did. Are there quotes on there too?
Oh, I screenshotted the quotes
Oh boy. Okay.
from Goodreads. Look at all that. Those are all the.
Okay, so we are going to be talking about A Court of Silver Flames, which if you haven't read, go read it. It's the, what is it, fifth book? Yes, fifth book of the Acotar series, and it's all about Nesta, Farah's sister. So, do you want to just, how do you want to do this?
I was thinking I'll just like read off my notes list and then like what the main points are, and then we can discuss it.
Okay. Because all I remember from the beginning is her being so freaking whiny and annoying, and I was like, if this is going to be the entire book, I'm going to lose it.
Yeah, so I think we should just start off at the beginning and like mention how she was. Um, so she was like drinking a lot, like a lot. And she'd always put, this is like such a minor detail, but she always put like the tab, like be like, oh, it's Resand's tab, like make him pay for it.
Yeah, because wasn't that one of the things when they like when he talked to her, he was like, bruh, like I gave you this
Yeah.
money, but you can't keep spending it on these things.
Yeah, no, I think that was probably like the main reason Resand wanted her to get help. He's like, she can't keep spending my money.
Not that he literally had all the money, so it really didn't matter, but
Yeah.
still. Which,
Yeah.
okay, side note, because I'm gonna make the side note. Where do they get this money? I'm so confused. Like, because, like, how do they, like, he doesn't have a job. Where does he make the money? Oh, the
Um,
loophole.
I don't know. I mean, how do any like kings or queens or whatever, how do any of them make money?
Facts.
Just
Well,
from their people? I don't know.
Tamlin had the tithe, but Rysand doesn't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found a loophole. Anyways.
Anyways, um, so I just remember Cassian going to her house one day and there was a guy there. And I was like remembering like the guy sneaking out and Cassian's like so pissed. He's like so annoyed. He didn't do anything, but he was like really like
Hmm. The beginning of the book says for every Nesta out there, climb the mountain.
I am so a
Okay.
Nesta. I am so, out of all the characters, I relate to her the most.
Because you're tiny, or no, I'm just kidding.
No. Wow.
Sorry. I'm kidding. It was a joke.
No, so when I read like Akatar and A Court of Mist and Fury and all that, like I love Feyre as a character. Like I'm like really interested in her story. I love her, but I didn't connect with her like I did Nesta. So that's why Silver Flames, I'm like, I have a special connection with it. Like it will always be one of my favorites for that and many reasons, but like that is like,
Bro, you are so right. It literally starts with Cassian coming to her door and being like, rough night. Like,
yeah.
literally starts like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so basically, yeah, she's just drinking and having sex with everybody and just numbing the pain, I guess, because of the cauldron.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's annoying. I found it so annoying.
Yeah.
I was like, Girl, pull your life together, please.
Yeah, it was like annoying, but it was also like sad. I was like,
Okay,
okay.
I wasn't sad. The difference, okay. So like Bryce was the same kind of way when she was after something happened in the book. And sorry, I didn't want to spoil that one. Um but what was I gonna say? But when oh yeah, when Bryce was like sad, it was different, I feel like, because she eventually like hit a moment where she was like, all this stuff reminds me of the situation, so I'm not gonna keep doing that. And so she like stopped and she stopped drinking and she stopped partying and all that, right? But Nesta went, this sucks, and I'm gonna drown myself and basically like bathe in all of the money that Rysand made for me, basically.
Yeah. So, yeah, because Bryce, like, kind of, I mean, obviously she was still, like, depressed and everything, but she had a job. She went to that job. Like, I feel like she was kind of, like, numb to it, but she was still moving, like, going throughout life, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
she had the job or whatever. Yeah.
yeah. But with Nesta, she literally had nothing. And instead of, like, digging out of that hole or, like, just staying in it, you know, she just kept digging deeper and deeper and deeper.
Hmm.
Where Bryce was just like, she hit rock bottom and she stayed there. Nesta hit rock bottom and then, you know,
Yeah.
kept
Well,
going.
like with Aelin too, like I'm just comparing all the characters. Like with Aelin, like she was like, I'm gonna claw my way back up, and Nesta didn't
Mhm.
hit that point until like halfway through the book.
Yeah, it's like that one Rachel Green scene when she was like, there's rock bottom and like 50 like feet of dirt or something, and then there's me. Like,
Literally, yes. Facts.
yeah. But so then after she spent like a certain amount of money, all of them had the meeting with her and they're like, okay, here's what's gonna happen. Like we're gonna tell you what like we're not giving you a choice anymore. Um, you're gonna go train with Cassian. And when I read that, I'm like, yay. Like, I was so happy.
Okay, wait.
But
Let's go back. Did you love Cassian as much as you did after, like before you read that part, right? Like, how much did you love him? Because you love him now because you read Silver Flame. So, like, was it like, you know what I'm saying?
he yeah, he was like my second favorite. Like Rhysand was still like my favorite, but I really did like Cassian, but he became my favorite after Silver Flames.
That's wrong, but okay.
No, it's not. What are you?
Bill and
Jeez.
Dorian all over again. Oh my God.
That one you're so wrong on, and I will die on that hill. I'll accept you liking Reese because I love Reese, but Kale over Dorian? No
Okay,
way.
listen, if we're going there,
Oh God.
I didn't like Kale after Tower of Dawn because he just was a human and he kept getting hurt and crap. Okay.
He wasn't human. That was enough.
But Dorian, what I didn't like about him is he was just a shameless flirt. I don't appreciate that.
But Kale was so vanilla coated. Like he was just so bland. Like there was nothing really
It was vanilla
added
coated.
into it.
Okay, you're correct. However, whatever. Emma's opinion on this is, yeah. You can
My
dive
opinion is correct.
whatever episode, I don't even remember what episode number it was, but when we talked about Empire Storms, that was the one. The Glass Part 3, that's when you figure out Emma's opinion on this.
Yeah. Dude, that TikTok I sent you that I made, I was like, is she gonna like criticize me for having Dorian on?
No, it was fair. It was justified, but that's not my list.
But you would have a list. Yours would be Rowan, Rhysand, Azriel, and maybe Xaden.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Zayden's on the list. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not putting Dorian on the list. Based on what? Listen, did you see what I sent you about what Sarah J. Maas said about Azriel?
Dude, I mentioned that in the last episode.
I found the actual quote. So point is top tier.
I want the next book just to be him, not Elaine. I want him and his love story. I hope it's Gwen, but I want the main focus to be him.
I don't know if it will because all of her focuses are on women.
I know. But I
Anyways,
think it's gonna be Elaine, but I just don't want it to be
what would it would be like a court of flowers and something.
stupidity.
I went with flowers and you went stupidity. Okay.
Yeah.
We are so
Anyways,
opinionated and we mention all the same opinions every time.
yeah.
Poor Elaine out here is just getting beaten on by us.
Good thing she's fictional.
Facts.
The one time I'm like, thank God a character's fictional.
It's like that one time we were talking about it and you were like, we're all for women supporting women. But, and I think you're like, but Elaine?
But not Elaine. And then when I was like, bring back bullying just for Elaine. Oh my God. I can't stand her. I don't know what it is.
So what you feel about Elaine is what I felt about Nesta a good like half of this book. I was like, you're so freaking dramatic.
Really?
Yeah. Who did wait? Who are we talking about where I explained was I talking about Nesta? The last time I was talking about this? Where I was talking about how like I get it, like all this stuff happened, but you can't like sulk in it. You have to like move on and get over it.
I think you're talking about Nesta.
It's like make things happen for yourself.
Yeah. But every time she so obviously, the first thing is like cutting off everyone, like starting drinking, sleeping with everyone. And then she kept just that every single time she did something else, I'm like, no, like please just like take one step forward, just one step.
Well, also it bothered me how she treated like everybody. Like the words that
Mhm.
specifically how she treated Feyre, like how she like talked to her. I was like,
Yeah.
she basically just saved your life and you're out here like that's not even true. Elaine saved your life. And Feyre made sure that you're here like having a great life, but you're like being a B word about it.
Yeah. And Elaine, there's this quote. I don't think I screenshotted this quote, but there's this quote where Elaine's like, I went into the cauldron too. Like I like had to deal with this. But then again, it's different for Nesta because she took something from the cauldron, like her nickname is literally Lady Death. Like she watched their dad die, like all of that stuff. So I
Yeah.
feel like it's on another level for Nesta.
Okay.
Just like
I can agree ish.
okay.
Elaine struggled too, though.
Yeah, but her struggle was more in Acotar.
True.
And
True.
her struggle was just like being quiet and away from everyone. And
So
then
they
she
both
eventually
isolated. I was gonna say, but when Feyre was isolated, she like almost like imploded on herself. Isn't that interesting? Hmm.
yeah.
Anyways, continue.
Anyways, so she went up to the House of Wind to train with Cassian, and they're like, "You're gonna stay up here. Like, you're not gonna go anywhere else. You can't get anywhere else besides unless you walk down the stairs." And the
Yep.
stairs are like, was it like 10,000 or there was like, yeah, okay.
I think it was 10,000.
And yeah, and she fought it for a little bit, didn't she? Like, she went up there, but she didn't like start training right away, I don't think.
No, she's very defiant.
Yeah.
She was like,
But
no, I don't like Cassian. I'm not going to train with him. No, I don't want to do that. I have no reason to do that. But,
yeah, but she had to work in the library too.
Oh, yeah. Duh. I remember this now. Okay. It's
Yeah.
slowly coming back.
So all of that happened, and then I don't know what happened to for her to like actually be like, okay, fine, I'll train with Cassian. I can't remember. But yeah, so she starts training with Cassian. It's a lot of like mundane stuff, her learning how to like build muscle and all that stuff. And she works in the library and she becomes friends with Gwen, which I love Gwen.
I just found this quote and I love this. This is chapter 10. They're at the house and they must have started training or something because whatever, I'll start reading. Cassian chuckled. That's not what I meant, but fine. The house likes you. Congratulations. She growled, and he leaned over to pick up the fork. She went stiff as his close at his closeness, but he said nothing as he took a bite of the cake. He let out a hum of pleasure that traveled along her bones and then took another bite. That's supposed to be mine, she groused, peering at him as he continued to eat. Then take it from me, he said. A simple disarming maneuver would do, considering my center of gravity is off balance and I'm distracted by this delicious cake. She glowered at him. He took a third bite. These are the things, Ness, that you'd learn in lessons with me. Your threats would be a hell of a lot more impressive if you could back them up. She drummed her fingers on the desk, eyed the fork in his hands, and pictured stabbing him in the thigh with it. You could do that too, he said, reading the direction of her stare. I could teach you how to turn anything into a weapon, even a fork.
Oh my God.
The banter between the two of them is just, I will agree, is top tier.
Yeah, because you know that they like each other. Like, there's something. And then it's like the scene in Akabor hanging over them where she was gonna die with him because she couldn't live with him dying and her running away. And then they just, or at least Cassian doesn't forget about it because he brings it up later, but she forgets, like, she tries to, like, forget about it and just, like, put that aside. And I remember the whole time I was reading it, I'm like, what? Like, everything that you guys just through, and it's just like, what?
Well, we knew that Cassian liked her from like A Court of Mist and Fury. Because
Yeah,
that's when he meets her for the first time, and you can just tell like how he acts towards her.
yeah,
But she like just doesn't admit it until this book, obviously.
yeah. There was this scene. Oh, here it is. The first time I saw that look on your face, you were still human, and I nearly went to my knees before you. His breath caressed the shell of her ear, and she couldn't stop her eyes from fluttering shut. His smile brushed against her temple. Your power is a song, and one I've waited a very, very long time to hear, Nesta. So yeah, he's felt this way since the beginning.
Uh, can we talk about the fact that here's another Fey male that is willing to like let the women have all the power?
Yeah, yeah. That Yes, I feel like that should be the way in every relationship ever. I
Says the person who's never been in a relationship.
feel because I haven't found a man that would do that.
That's
Just
not
just
like
kidding. I'm not looking.
you're not looking or
No.
why?
because it's a waste of my time. Have you seen those videos where they're like me patiently waiting to find the love of my life while sitting in my house? That's
That is
me.
literally you. You're waiting for all the Amazon delivery guys and the like electricians.
I literally can't believe that. Like every single time, like anything comes or whatever, my dad's like, "Was he cute?" And I'm like, "You've never done this before. Why did you just start doing it?"
He is ready for you to be in a relationship. And you can say, I'm in a relationship with all my book boyfriends,
No, he'd make fun of me for that.
but it's true.
Yeah, it's true. None of them will compare.
See, this is what is wrong with men being written by women. Creates
Yeah.
a image in our mind of something that is not accurate or real.
Yeah. Fine.
Anyways, it's fine.
Anyways, it's fine. Okay, so Cassian becomes, I don't remember what the name of the thing is, but like he he's not just Rhysand's general of the army anymore. He's like this one thing that he goes and like makes deals with people and like I can't remember what the name is. But anyways, you know what I'm talking about. And so he has to go do like those dealings and stuff, and he goes to the spring court a couple of times to meet with he meets with Eris a couple of times. I can't remember what the big fight is. I think it's not there's not like really a big fight, but there's like what something they're trying to do. I think it's something with the night court of nightmares and Moore's dad. That's one thing. And then I remember Cassian, like the whole thing of I don't know how to say it, like the Illyr what are they? The Illyrians or something like that?
Illyrian.
Illyrian? Okay. So there's this whole thing that women can't be Illyrian warriors. And that's like Cassian's been trying to like get that to change. And like so that's a whole thing.
But it's like they're treated a lot worse, I think.
Yeah, well they weren't really allowed to do it, I don't think first of all, but now they do, and now they're treated like badly. Like because their wings were like cut off or something. Not cut off, but like broken. And that was like banned like years and years and years ago. But I think you say her name like Emery. That's how I've said it.
Hmm.
Her dad like did it in secret, so her wings were like
Yep.
broken and she couldn't fly and stuff. So
Hmm.
that was like another really big part of it.
Hmm. Was this the book, or is it a different book where either you hear about it like a backstory, or it's this one? It's this one where, sorry, where they have to go and do the like week-long battle thing to get to the
Yeah,
top of the
yeah.
mountain. Oh, duh. That's why it says
The
climb the
blood right.
mountain.
Yeah, the
What?
blood right.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm so stupid.
I have that in my notes.
Okay, for some reason in my brain, I thought that that was like a backstory because they talk about it, like when Rysand and Azriel and
Yeah.
Cassian did it. So in my brain, that was what it was only. But I was like, no, I swear Nesta did it. Okay, we
Hmm.
can get. I just wanted to make sure I'm in the right. Okay, cool.
Yes. So, um,
Fine.
so that was like a big part of it. And then one of my favorite things is how Nesta loves to read so much, and she reads like smutty books,
Yeah.
and Cassian sees her reading them, and it's so funny. And then she's like besties with the House of Wind.
Yeah, she literally is.
which I don't like. It was like the House of Wind was its own character, and I'm like, I love the House of Wind. Like,
Because it was like sassy and she was sassy back. It was hilarious.
yeah, and they would like trade books back and forth, and then the house would like get her anything she wanted and stuff. And there's this one quote that I want to find that it's so funny.
Oh boy.
I'm talking to the house, which is a considerable step up from talking to you. It doesn't talk back. Exactly. That was between Nesta and Cassian. So yeah, I love their that relationship. It was so funny.
It took them so long to finally get to a point. No, it took Nesta so long to get to the point of like, okay, I can be in love with him. And it was low key annoying. So it was like, we know you're gonna end up together. Why are you being so annoying about it?
Yeah, because it was just like it was just sex for a while. Like they were just hooking up.
Oh, yeah,
And
I forgot about
yeah,
that. But
yeah. I
why?
don't know it because they wanted to. And there's
But
this
didn't they like
okay.
not? They like didn't cross some line though, right? Or am I making that up?
Oh yeah, I don't think they said they weren't gonna sleep in each other's bed afterwards. It was just like they'd hook up and then they'd leave.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like there was no emotional attachment, which obviously there was, but like they like said like they didn't want anything to do with that. And there's this one quote from Azriel talking about this. So it says, "As chuckled, the wind shifting the strands of his dark hair. You two need a chaperone up here? Yes, no, yes. I thought you were the chaperone." As threw him a wicked smile. "I'm not entirely sure I'm enough."
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
He was
I love
literally
how
like a babysitter the whole time.
he was, but he gave up so quickly. He was like, no. Like,
He's like, I don't no.
no. Like, I know what's happening, but we're just not gonna
But he
talk
was
about
probably
it.
like jealous. Like I'd be like, how come everybody is somebody, but I don't?
I am Ezreal.
We just talked about the fact that you are not. You are Nesta
Oh, yeah, I'm messed up for sure, though.
or more.
I'd want to play more, but I'm more Nesta, and I don't think I could play Nesta because I would be too much alike, and I'd like that would affect me way too much. I'd be like, no, but I could play it really well.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. 100%.
the training happens, and like she keeps working at the library. She becomes besties with Gwen. She meets Emrys because Cassian brings Nesta to the Illyrian camps. I don't know why. I think it was just to train there, maybe.
There was a reason, and I think it was because he wanted her to see what was happening so that because she was like, I still don't need to train, like I have no reason for this. And I think it was because he wanted her to see like what was going on and like why he needed her to train and like
Yeah.
who she could be.
Hmm.
Because he always knew that she was worth more, but she didn't believe that.
I loved the part where Nesta like went to Cassian and was like, "Would you train all these other like they're not librarians. What are they called? Like
Al something Al
I want to say like alkalites or something or acolytes, but I
is
don't think
something
that's right.
ALCOYOTE or something. Alec I,
I don't know. But and he was like, "Yeah, I'll train them if they want to, but all of them, that was another big part of it is how all of them went through some sort of trauma that they didn't want to leave the library because it was so bad."
well, then
And
didn't Azriel then come to and help because he was like, Cassian was like, I can't do this alone. I need you to help.
Yeah, but I love how Cassian was like, make sure that they're comfortable with it. And then when he wanted to bring Azrael into it, he was like, make sure that they're comfortable with it. And I think that was one of the reasons I loved Cassian so much, is because he was like so aware and so like I don't know what the word is, but I don't know.
Considerate?
Yeah, I think something like that. I don't know. But I just loved how she included, or Sarah J. Maas, like, included so many scenes of, like, women and powerful women. Like, she always does, but I feel like Silver Flames was such a main book for all of that.
And it was like how like you can overcome like any trauma, but like you have to be like a fighter and not just like
Yeah.
whatever. You were like you're like I look like I'm in Twilight or something.
I did. So funny. I thought it was so funny.
I I like saw that and I started bursting out laughing because I didn't realize it until I looked at it and I was like, "Oh my God, she totally does."
I was like, I can't post that and not acknowledge the fact. Oh my God. Dude, every time we do these, my cheeks hurt because I'm laughing so hard.
Oh my gosh, same. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Gwen and Emery and Nesta become all besties. And oh, I want to mention the one fact that when Nesta told Emery, like, you can come and train with us. Like, I'll have like one of the like either Rhysand, Cassian, or Azrael or whoever, like come and get you and bring you there. And Rhysand did it every single time. Like he brought Emery's there every single time. And I saw a TikTok about that, and they're like, people hate on Rhysand, but he did this for Nesta. And I'm like, yeah, like I don't hate on Rhysand.
You
Like him and
can't.
Nesta, no, him and Nesta don't like each other. And that's like
Yet
that's on both sides.
yet they both show that they care.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was his way of showing that he cared. Her way of
Mhm.
showing that he cared that she cared had something to do with like Feyre and like when she was pregnant, which is a whole other thing that we need to talk about, but we can talk
Yeah,
about.
we'll get to that. Yeah.
But it's so true that they didn't like each other, but for the sanity of the inner circle, they show little things to show that they care, or they did little things to show
Yeah.
they cared. Which,
Yeah, like neither of them are bad people, I don't think. It's
well,
just they have different at like outlooks, and like they have different experiences, like different things they're going through, and it's just like
and it showed like obviously like Rhysand, we knew. Did I just say Rhysand?
I'm rubbing off on you.
Rhysand. Oh my god, he. What was he even saying?
I don't know.
I'm like shocked to my core right now. Okay. Um. Oh, Rysand, we know that he's like a mature person, right? Because he has to be and whatever, because he's like the High Lord of the Night Court and all this stuff, right? Okay, cool. But Nesta was not a mature person at the beginning of A Court of Silver Flames, but like how she acts towards the end of A Court of Silver Flames shows that she matured enough as a person to like show that she cared, even though she doesn't really necessarily like Rysand.
Exactly. And the fact that so obviously Rhysand, he's one way with Feyre, he's one way with like the inner circle, he's one way when he has to be the High Lord of
Right.
the Court of Nightmares. But with Nesta, he's not that High Lord, and he's not how it is in the inner circle. It's like somewhere in between. It's like they eventually like throughout the whole book, it's like them trying to be at least like friends-ish, like be like because they're family. I mean,
Right. Well, and I think that was like a like if I'm remembering correctly, that was like a conversation that happened between him and Feyre because she was like I can't do this because you're both like family and you both mean something to me. And the fact that you're both like against each other and then like and that Nesta is basically hating on all of us. She's like, it's too hard because I just want everybody to like love each other and be family because that's what we are, but we're not acting like it. And I think that like then Ryzen like had that conversation when they were having the conversation with the inner circle, like for like to Nesta, basically being like, you need to get your life together. He was like, this is not just for like you, like this is for all of us. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that shows like how he was as a leader, that he went like, this is like, I want Nesta to be better for Feyre, first of all, but I also want her to be better so that we as a court can show that we are family and that we are one for like our people or whatever. And I think
Yeah.
we're powerful and beautiful.
I agree.
Anyways.
Anyways, yeah, I just didn't understand why everyone's like, oh my God, Rhysand is so mean and a court of silver flames, like he's the worst. And I'm like, no.
Okay, but also let's just go through the fact that he was also wrestling with the fact that Pharaoh was pregnant, and for them, that means that she could have died because their baby had wings.
Yeah. Oh
Like,
my gosh. I just keep seeing memes that's like, so they can like hold organs and like together and sew someone back up, but they can't give a C-section. And I was like, such a valid point.
okay, I was gonna have a defense to that, but now I don't know if I have a defense to that. But like, can they not? Oh, maybe it's too much blood loss
Maybe.
because
Hmm.
that was what they were concerned about originally, is too much blood loss.
So Rhysand flew Emery back there so that they can train and stuff. And I love that friendship, that core friendship. Like
Yeah.
Nesta finally found people that she felt truly comfortable to talk to and have fun with. Like obviously she had her sisters and everyone, but like she never really felt like she was a part of that.
Right.
And so Gwen and Emery literally helped her bring like get some life back into her.
Well, because they all had things that they had gone through, and so it was like they had like they trauma bonded basically.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she mentioned to them like I'm not a person you want to know. And they're like I don't care what you've done.
Right. I think they
Like we're
yeah,
gonna be there.
like
Yeah.
they had like a whole conversation of like we're all like in separate like things going on. Like I think Nesta did say like you don't want to be friends with me. Like I don't like my past is too big to like, whatever.
Mm,
I think yeah. The fact that they were willing to stick with her and she was willing to stick with them shows like how strong the friendship was.
yeah.
And obviously because they did the whole like blood right thing
Hmm.
together.
Um, yeah, but that one time they had a sleepover, I thought that scene was so wholesome. Like throughout all of this like depression and trauma and like fighting and all this stuff and Silver Flames, and then it's just like three girls having a sleepover. And I'm like, this is
Literally,
so wholesome. It's
literally.
so cute. And then the House of Wind provided like so much stuff for them. It was like I can't remember what everything was, but I remember it was like a crazy amount. And they're like, what the heck?
We love the House of Wind. Best character.
We love him. Yeah. I
Um,
just called it a him. I don't know. I could
I
just
would say
imagine.
that I would agree. I think
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Do we even know what like I don't even remember like the plot. Like what was the thing they were trying to fight against, or was there not anything to fight against? It was just rebuilding after the King of Hybern.
I
Hybern.
think it was rebuilding. I think there was something to do with the Court of Nightmares and like Moore's dad. Because Eris was also involved.
Because wasn't
So
didn't he become like something to the Spring Court?
I don't think it was the Spring Court. He had an alliance with Rhysand and the Court of Nightmares. Um,
Okay. I thought
but Cassian met Eris at the Spring Court to have like meetings and stuff.
okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
And it was like like the place was completely torn to shreds. Like it was like a mess there. There was no more people. Tamlin was like a mess and a half. Like
More than a mess and a half, but man just had issues.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I saw this like fan art the other day and it made me sick to my stomach because I was like, no, this could never happen, please. And it was Tamlin with Feyre and Rysand's son. And he was like basically like taking care of him, like Uncle Tamlin or whatever. And I was like,
No.
Rysand would never let that happen. No. Like, no.
Right, Rhysand, Cassian, and I know. God, or we're just switching roles.
No, let's just spit out my water.
Anyways, Cassian, Rhysand, and Azriel would never let that happen.
Oh, they wouldn't. So why would somebody create a fan art of that? I'm sorry, whoever that person was, but you were wrong.
Okay, this is kind of a side note, but I saw this person doing like this TikTok trend. And it's like ranking like ships or whatever. And it wasn't Acotar themed, it was just random. And there's this one ship, apparently, that it's. Have you seen Supernatural?
No.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know there's two brothers, right?
Okay, yeah.
The ship was the brothers. And I was like, people are sick. People are so sick.
There are some strange people out there in the world.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God. Anyways, that's like the people that would make that fan art.
Yeah, I literally saw it because I was like, oh, this is cute. And I couldn't tell if it was Lucian or if it was Tamlin. And then I looked at the comments or the caption and it was Tamlin. And I was like, because if it was
Mm.
Lucian, that'd be cute.
Yeah.
But I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, I really wanted to comment, but I didn't.
What were we even talking about? Oh, I just wanted to say how it was so funny with the three like women, like Gwen, Emery, and Nesta. One, when they were talking about Cassian and they're asking Nesta, they're like, tell like give us the needs, like all that stuff. And like it was so funny because it's so wholesome. And then when they would be training and all three of them would just be like in the corner off to the side. All the other women are like over here training. Cassie and Azriel's helping them. The three who's like higher up level than everyone else were over here talking about Cassie and Azriel and how hot they were. And I was like, this is so accurate to like friendships. Like it's so funny.
It's like when Pharaoh was training with Cassian in A Court of Mist and Fury, and it was like right away at the beginning, and she still didn't know obviously that her and Rysand were mates. And she like took his shirt off or something, and then she like couldn't pay attention because she was just staring at him and Azriel. And then like Amryn came up and was like, "What are you doing?"
How not fair with
It's
those three.
literally.
Yeah. There's this one scene that something Gwen said or did that I'm gonna try to find because it was so funny. Okay. Gwen threw Azriel a withering stare as she strode past him. See you tomorrow, Shadow Singer. She tossed over a shoulder as stared after her, brows high with amusement. When he turned back, Nesta grinned. You have no idea what you just started, she said. And that's one of the reasons I ship them because I feel like those two together, like the
I
lead
feel
up.
like it's so funny you say that. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, anyways.
I will be civil.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
But I think the build up and the flirting
that
would be like really good between those two.
that comment, I remember that. And so that comment when Nesta said like you don't know what you just started, that's why I think too like they'll end up together because obviously Elaine is mates with Lucian, even though she doesn't want to be. But I feel like who else would Azrael even end up with?
No one.
Right. So I feel like it has to be Gwen, but
Yeah. And the fact that personally, I think Elaine is too like quiet and like conserved. That's not the right word. I don't know. I'm
reserved.
just gonna yeah. I think is that the
Reserved?
I don't know. Anyways, to be like with Azrael.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying it's bad. Like obviously I feel like Lucy and like and her could be like cute together. And I feel like she could find her person if even if it's not Lucy and that would match that. But I feel like Azrael needs someone to like
Like
go
Gwen.
back and forth with. Yeah.
Well, okay, also I don't want a whole story about Lucian and Elaine. And I oh, I was just gonna say I don't want to like a whole like book of Elaine and like because I feel like that could well, we just don't know that much about her, and so maybe if like we learn more about her, I would like it more, but I just feel like she's so quiet that it's like, okay, do you even like would it even be interesting? Plus also, I don't know, like, does everybody need to end up with somebody? No.
No.
I think personally that the conspiracy theory that I sent you about where the heck was Moore during Silver Flames, that would be such a good book. Except where would there would be no romance.
Yeah, maybe there would be. Maybe she met someone. Oh, I wanted her and Emery together. That's right. Because there was this one, it's this whole thing is based off of one scene that's so small. But there's this one scene where they describe Emery looking at Moore. Like they say like she was like staring at Moore. And I'm like, especially with Sarah J. Maas, nothing happens by accident.
Okay, true.
She puts everything in there for a reason.
I just don't know if I personally would want a whole like book about Moore's love story. I'd want it about like her backstory. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I want to know what happened with Eris. I want to know so bad.
That's what I want. I would care more about like the backstory. I don't care about personally because I think that technically in my brain, I don't think Moore needs anybody because she has exactly what she needs right now.
Yeah,
So I don't need a whole love story, but I do want to know the backstory because I need to know what happened.
yeah. Okay, speaking of Eris, do you remember that he liked Nesta? Like he was intrigued by her.
No.
And so Rhysand used Nesta to like get Eris to like cooperate and like do what they wanted and stuff. Do you remember any of this?
In what book? This one?
Silver Flames, yeah.
No, I don't remember.
So then Nesta goes with Cassian to meet Eris and all that stuff. And then they have a ball. I don't know why they had a ball. I don't remember I don't know if it was like a holiday or something. And she is like a dancer. Like she grew up in like ballet and her mom like taught her all that stuff. And so she danced with Eris, and that was their plan for her to dance with Eris.
I think I
And
remember.
so,
I think it
yeah,
was it winter solstice
I think so. Or it was something like that.
or starfall probably.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so that was the plan. And Cassian was not okay with the plan.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he was like, I'm not a good dancer. I'm literally like a warrior. I'm like a general, like I'm a fighter, whatever, you know. But I don't know if he like learned some like the moves for Nesta or if he did the best I think he did, right? He took
Yeah,
like ballet lessons or
yeah.
something.
He took like 2 lessons or 3 lessons or something.
Yeah. And then Rhysand beforehand was like, do not cut in. Like, do not like let her do her thing with Eris We need him on our side. I can't remember why they wanted, like the deal was or whatever, but
It
it
was
was something. And Cassian cuts in. And I was like, okay, like I love this. Like
Are we
it's
surprised? No.
no, Cassian will do whatever he wants to do.
Especially if it's for Nesta.
Yes. And then um I'm trying to think of how this order went. So eventually they were talking about Nesta marrying Eris for all this stuff. And there's this quote, which I don't know exactly when it was in Silver Flame, so I'm just gonna read it. Um, it is so sad though.
This is when
Wait.
you're gonna cry.
This, oh my God, when I was finding quotes, I was like on the verge of tears. I'm like, this is so depressing. So I'm just gonna read it, but it might be out of order. So, and it's really long, so just stick with me.
Okay.
Um, she shut her eyes against the realization rising within her like a tidal wave. It would sweep away everything in its path once she admitted it, consume her entirely. The thought was enough for her to straighten and wipe away her tears. I can't accept this. Oh, this is when Cassian gave her a gift, and it was like the music box, and he like had the musicians like replay everything, and then he recorded it and gave it to her. So
Which was adorable.
it was so cute. It was made for you, he smiled softly. She couldn't bear that smile, his kindness and joy as she corrected, I will not accept it. She placed the orb back in its box and handed it to him. Return it. His eyes shuddered. It's a gift, not a fucking wedding ring. She stiffened. No, I'll look to Eris for that. He went still. Say that again. She made her face cold, the only shield she had against him. Rhys says Eris wants me for his bride. He'll do anything we want in exchange for my hand. The siphons atop Cassian's hands flickered. You aren't considering saying yes. She said nothing. Let him believe the worst. He snarled. I see. I get a little too close and you shove me away again, back to where it's safe. Better to marry a viper like Eris than be with me. I am not with you, she snapped. I am fucking you. The only thing fit for a bastard-born brute, right? I didn't say that. You don't need to. You said it 1,000 times before. Then why did you bother to cut in at the ball? Because I was jealous, he roared. Wingsplain. Wings. Yeah, that sounded rude. Anyways, you look like a queen, and it was painfully obvious that you should be with a princeling like Eris and not a lowborn nothing like me, because I couldn't stand the sight of it, right down to my goddamn bones. But go ahead, Nesta, go ahead and marry him, and good luck to you. Varys is the brute, she shot back. He is a brute and a piece of shit, and I would marry him because I am just like him. The words echoed through the room. His pained face gutted her. I deserve Eris, her voice cracked. Cassian panted, his eyes still lit with fury and now with shock. Nesta said hoarsely, You are good, Cassian, you are brave and brilliant and kind. I could kill anyone who has ever made you feel less than that. Less than what you are, and I know I'm part of that group, and I hate it. Her eyes burned, but she fought past it. You are everything I have never been and will never be good enough for. Your friends know it, and I have carried it around with me all this time, that I do not deserve you. I'll stop there, but that whole thing, it's just, it
I
makes
remember that. And I remember being like,
just that part that she's like, I deserve him. He's the brute. He's like literally the worst, and I deserve him. Oh, maybe I should read this next part.
yeah.
Okay, I'll read more. Nesta didn't stop the tears that flowed or the words that tumbled out. I didn't deserve you before the war or afterward, and I certainly don't now. She let out a low, broken laugh. Why do you think I shoved you away? Why do you think I wouldn't speak to you? She put a hand on her aching chest. After my father died, after I failed in so many ways, denying myself of you. She sobbed. It was my punishment. Don't you understand that? She could barely see him through her tears. From the moment I met you, I wanted you more than reason. From the moment I saw you in my house, you were all I could think about, and it terrified me. No one had ever held such power over me, and I'm still terrified that if I let myself have you, it will be taken away. Someone will take it away, And if you're dead, she buried her face in her hands. It doesn't matter, she whispered. I do not deserve you, and I never ever will. So that's sad.
Yep, that's
I I remember crying during this scene.
yeah, because the fact that she felt so broken, to the fact that she like Farah was very broken, but she never went to the extreme of like I don't deserve. Like she probably felt it, but like it was never said like I don't deserve
Yeah,
my man. Like
yeah,
but the fact that Nesta was like I don't deserve you because of who I am.
yeah. And because of what I've done.
Like that shows that she knew who she was and like what she did.
Hmm.
Also like so sad.
I know. And it like that really opens your eyes and being like she stayed away not for herself, but for them. Like she destroyed herself basically so that they wouldn't have to deal with her.
They had to deal
And
with
if
it
you
anyway. But yeah,
I know, but like if you think about that, like she stayed away because of that thinking.
because she felt like she was not enough for them and she was the problem.
Yeah. And that thought is really what gets me.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Fine.
It's fine.
Um, yeah, that's really sad. But I don't know exactly what happened like after that, but we should mention how she tried the stairs multiple times. Like her goal was the stairs.
She did. She was like, I'm gonna do it. Like the first time, it was like right away. She was like, screw this. And she
Hmm.
was like, I'm gonna make it to the bottom. And she made
Yeah.
it like not even 100 stairs or something. It was
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't that far.
it wasn't. I don't remember who came and got her.
I don't think anyone. I think she had to go back up.
Oh, I thought somebody came and got her. Maybe you're right. Anyways, but then like, yeah, she did it again. And it was like, it went from being like out of spite to like, I actually need to accomplish this because it's a goal in my life. And didn't she do it?
She did do it eventually. But when she got down to the bottom, she went back. Well, no, the first time she did it, I think she did it twice, right? The first time she did it, it was out of anger. And that's when she went to Amron's house. And like all of that happened.
Was it because she like found her power or something?
I don't remember. It was something like she was like really pissed at literally everyone for doing something, like even Cassian and everyone like that. I
That's
can't remember exactly what it was. Um, but okay, backing up a little bit. Basically, each time she came back up the stairs, not each time, but a lot of the time she came back up the stairs, Cassian was waiting for her and he was like, "Really? Like, how'd that go?"
yeah.
And usually those times were like she left because she was mad. Like
Hmm.
she left because she was like really mad at them. But when she went to Amron's house, she got down the stairs and she didn't go to a bar. She went to straight to Amron's house, barged through her room, and she was like yelling at her for something. And then Pharaoh was there, and then Nesta let it slip that Pharaoh was gonna die. And Pharaoh didn't know because of like the pregnancy and stuff. And then Nesta stormed out of the house or the place or whatever. And or Cassian came and just grabbed her and left right away because he was like, Rhysand's literally gonna kill you for telling Feyre that she was gonna die.
I remember crying when that happened.
I hmm
Because you knew that Pharaoh was gonna die, but she didn't know. And so then when she found out, like that was just heartbreaking. And because you knew that Rysand was doing everything he could to not let that happen. And then for Nesta to spill it like that out of her own anger, it was like, I don't know. There was just something about it that was like, what?
Yeah. See,
Like,
I think Feyre deserved to know, but not in that way.
no. Right, exactly. She needed to know, but not out of her sister's heartbreak.
Yeah.
Like, that was not how that should have gone. Because that made it
Yeah.
sound so much worse and seem so much worse than it. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it made it seem like this is the end and like I don't care that you die.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. After she did that, I was like, how is she gonna come back from this? Like, I wanted her to come back from everything that's happened, right? And then she did that, and I was like, this is gonna be rough to come back from, like this whole thing. I was really worried.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
then Cassian took her to some mountains, and even Cassian was pissed
Oh, he was mad. Yeah.
because Feyre and Cassian are besties.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and obviously their job is to protect the High Lady.
hmm yeah. So they went to that mountain, and I don't know where their end goal was. I think Cassian was just like, "Here, we're just gonna start walking," and that's what happened. They walked for days and days and days, and without like them speaking at all, basically.
I think it was because he was like, you, or because basically Rysand was like, you need to take her away, otherwise I'm gonna kill her.
Hmm
I think that was, and so Cassian's like, okay. Like, and he was just as mad, and it was like, you need to cool off. Like,
Yeah.
this is on you,
hmm
basically.
Yeah. Um, and then that one scene, I literally can picture it in my brain, and I sobbed so hard during this scene. But it was when they were like they were like, I'm pretty sure there was a lake in front of them, and then Nesta just fell to her knees and started crying. And, like all the emotions, like she was so emotionless this whole book. Like she wouldn't show anyone anything, and then she just let it all out. And I don't have the quote because it's like really, really long, but I'll read some things about it. But it was just like that whole thing, bro. So I'm just gonna read a few things. I think they're during this t scene, and if they're not, well, who cares? But I think this is the scene. So I am worthless and I am nothing, Nesta nearly said. She wasn't sure why the words bubbled out up, pressing on her lips to voice them. I hate everything that I am, and I am so, so tired. I am tired of wanting to be anywhere but in my own head. That's one of them. But I still don't know how to fix what?
So that's so relatable.
I know. But I still don't know how to fix myself. There's nothing broken to be fixed, he said. That one's another one. Um, this was definitely during this scene. Okay. This is Cassian saying this. I am going to tell you that you will get through it, that you will face this, and you will get through it. That these tears are good, Nesta. These tears mean you care. I am going to tell you that it is not too late, not for any of it. And I can't tell you when or how, but it will get better. What you feel, this guilt and pain and self-loathing, you will get through it, but only if you're willing to fight. Only if you're willing to face it and embrace it and walk through it, to merge on the other side of it, and maybe you will still feel that tinge of pain, but there is another side, a better side. I don't know what scene this was, but she says she had been born Ron, had been born with claws and fangs, and had never been able to keep from using them, never been able to quell the part of her that raged at betrayal, that could hate and love more violently than anyone ever understood. This is Cassian. I'll be with you every step of the way. Just don't lock me out. You want to walk in silence for a week? I'm fine with that. So long as you talk to me at the end of it.
Listen, I think that a huge part of it that I didn't even think about until you started saying though that is the fact that their mom died so early in their life that like she didn't even have like Nesta, because she was the oldest. She didn't have a woman figure to look up to. And so she only had bitterness and anger. And so to know that she could feel the things that she felt and have it be okay, like because Cassian made it okay, like that was like the where the growth happened, because she felt like she couldn't be who she was because she didn't have a figure that showed her she could. So then are you gonna cry?
No!
You look like you're gonna. But then when Cassian was like allowing her to feel those things and allowing her to have those emotions, it was like finally like an understanding of who she actually was. And it's true, like she was never like meant to be in a human body because of who she is. She's Lady Death. Like she literally is so powerful. But she was put in a body that she couldn't be in. And so then when she was put in the cauldron and then made to be something else who she actually was meant to be, it was hard for her because she was caged this whole time in another body. And so when Cassian was like all those things he said and allowed her to be who she was meant to be, it like was hard for her to work through because she was like, oh, this is actually who I'm meant to be. And like that realization was hard. Anyways, I just went on a tangent. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.
That was beautifully put, by the way. That was like I want like one of the ma main reasons I love Cassian is because he saw Nesta. He was going through all of this, like self-loathing, everything, and he loved her and stayed by her side during all of it. Like he might have been mad with at her or annoyed with her or upset with her, but he didn't give up on her.
He
And
saw
that's the thing
her.
that, yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that made me cry a lot during this book is like every single like that when she broke down crying, he was there. Like he didn't judge her, he didn't like condemn her for everything she's done or said. Like he was there for her.
Right. Cassian saw Nesta. And are we going to talk about the blood right?
Yeah. So before that, um, Cassian tells her that they're mates. But he doesn't really tell her because he's like, you know, like say it. I don't
That's
know.
right.
But basically, he said, like, say it, like, we're like what you've known for a while, what I've known since the moment we've kissed, like, we kissed for the first time. And, she w like wouldn't say it, and he yells at her, like, we're mates. And this is like all by the lake and like by the water, and everyone's like walking around and everything. And like they had that whole conversation. And basically, I'm pretty sure she was still like, no, I don't deserve you. And I think that might have been part of that conversation or something. And then Cassian, I think it was Cassian who flies her to Emery so that they can have like a girls' night. Because like Nesta was kind of freaking out. Like she was like, I don't know what's going on. Like I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden Gwen shows up. And this is like the first time that Gwen has left the library in years. And then Gwen's like, some things are just more important than fear, basically. And she like wanted to be there for Nesta. And I thought that was so cute.
I found the part that you read earlier. You're not going to marry Eris, he said roughly. No, she breathed. His eyes blazed. There will be no one else for either of us. Yes, she whispered. Ever, he promised. Nesta laid a hand on his muscled chest, letting the thunderous beating of the heart beneath echo into her palm, let it travel down her arm into her own chest, her own heart. Ever, she swore. It was all he needed, all she needed. Then they, you know, have a great time. Um,
I love this scene where she finally accepts, I don't know if it was that one, but when she finally accepts like the mating bond. So she was like, I want a big ceremony. That's all I want because he said you could rule the world. And she was like, I don't want to rule the world. I just want you. And then I know that's so cute. And then um and then she was like, but I also have this like it was like crackers or like bread or something. And she's like, that's what they do. You do, right? Give your mate bread or like give your mate food. And he was like, so these are my two options, a big ceremony or this crusty, like this like pathetic looking food. And she's like, yep.
Yep. Remember, she wanted to be a Valkyrie. That's
Hmm.
what it was. Not an
Yeah.
Illyrian. She wanted to be a Valkyrie.
No. Yeah.
We haven't talked about that
Yes.
yet. I need
I
to
know.
find.
I was thinking about that. Um, but all three of them were training to be a Valkyrie. And remember they tied up that ribbon and they're like, whoever can cut this ribbon is a Valkyrie. And Azriel and Cassian were very like impressed. Like they kept watching them. They're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And so that night when they spent at Emery's, yeah. And then all of a sudden, men broke in and took them in their sleep. And when that happened, I was like, poor Gwen is never gonna leave her house again.
No, she's literally not.
Like Emery and Nesta obviously was scary for them too, but I was like, poor Gwen, man. Like the one time she's like she leaves the library and then she gets kidnapped.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. So they get kidnapped and then it's basically the blood right,
Mhm.
which
And
is disgusting and brutal.
yeah. Um and they were all in these like what they slept in, which is like nothing, like no fabric.
Hmm.
And I think it was Nesta who killed a guy and then like took his clothing, right? Because it was so
Sounds about right.
cold.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds about
And then she finds Emery, who
right.
was like in the river, like hanging on a branch,
Yep.
and all that stuff happened. And then they eventually found Gwen, like they
Hmm.
because their plan was to find each other.
Right.
Because that's what Azriel, Rhysand, and Cassian did. There's this quote that Gwen says, I have been broken once before, her voice clear. I survived it, and I will not be broken again, not even by this mountain. And I was like, yes, Gwen.
Go, girl, go. You tell them.
Yes. Here's another quote. Nesta's eyes stun as Gwen said, so we climb Ramil, or however you say the mountain's name. We take the breaking. We win to prove to everyone that something new can be as powerful and unbreakable as the old rules. That something no one has ever seen before, not entirely Valkyrie, nor entirely Illyrian, can win the blood right. No, Nesta said at last. We win to prove to ourselves that it can be done. She bared her teeth in a feral grin at the mountain. We win the whole damn thing. I love powerful women in books. Like, come on.
I probably started crying during that. I'm sure I did.
Yeah, no, it's the fact that they were put into it without wanting to. Like, they were forced into it because they didn't like that there were women training.
Right. Right. And yeah, and they basically went, okay, cool. We're gonna do this thing and we're gonna win.
Hmm.
Like we're not gonna die. Like we're gonna prove to you that we can win.
Yes. And do you remember when they got like closer to the top? Like the top was right there, and they were being followed by, I think it was Emery's cousin.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah. And so Nesta drew that line in the ground and she was like, you like this is where you stop. And she was like, Gwen and Emery, go to the top, win this, I'll stall for you. And that whole time it was so powerful.
I remember that. Yeah, when she
Because
drew the line in the sand.
yeah, because they like took away all their powers for this blood right. So she didn't have her Lady Death powers. Like she just like destroyed them with what she's learned in fighting. And there's this one quote, and she was like, "My mate taught me well," or something like that. And that was when she like accepted it to herself, I think it was.
Yeah.
That was-
Yeah, I remember specifically when she like drew that line in the sand. It was like she wasn't just like doing it for like when in Emery, she was doing it for herself too. Like this is where I stop like and like fight. Like this is where it, you know what I mean? Like not even like this is where it
Mhm.
ends, but like this is where like the new life starts.
Yeah, it was so symbolic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Cassian, when Cassian got there, like afterwards, he saw like the line in the sand, I'm pretty sure. And I think he knew or like something like that. And I was like, I just love this book.
Also, can we just talk about the fact that Pharaoh is pregnant and the end, I was sobbing.
I was a wreck.
Okay,
I was
so
so mad.
they win the blood right? And then you go basically go back and Farah's like giving birth, pretty much.
Mhm.
And it's like what Rysand says and how he acts and like giving her like all of his power, like it was worse than when he died.
Mhm.
Because if she went, he went. They were going together.
But when Amryn found out, she was like, "You guys are so dumb. Why would you do that?" They're like, "For love." And Amryn's like, "Shut the fuck up. Like, why?"
Yeah, she was. She was like, y'all are idiots. But let's be honest, like it made sense.
It made sense, yeah.
But that whole scene when she's giving birth and like I thought like because this book was about Nesta and Cassie and I'm like what if she just like kills them off? Like what if she
Mhm.
dies? Like that was so emotional and so like it was the fact that you knew exactly what Rysand was feeling and you could feel it. Like it's like the heartbreak of like when Rowan and Kale were outside of the thing when Aelin and Dorian were going to the thing to like solve the whatever. It was
Mhm.
like they knew that they might not come back.
Feyre basically, she did die, right?
Kind
For a
of.
second there. Yeah, like her heart like basically stopped or something. And Rhysand like felt her slipping away and he knew that she was dying and that he was gonna die, but he obviously didn't care about himself. And then Nesta put on all three, like the mask, the I don't know what everything else, the
The
crown,
heart,
and there was some,
the
yeah,
heart.
there was something. And and she was like, literally take everything back, just save her, and everything like that. And then every like time slowed, and she like had that whole conversation with whatever thing was on the other side, like whatever she was talking to. And then Feyre was like came back basically alive, stopped dying, she gave birth, like everything was fine. And Rhysand like fell to his knees and was like thanking Nesta. And I was like, after all of this, like hating each other, like fighting with each other, and then they have they both wanted Feyre to live so badly, and they came together.
That was the thing. Like Rysand did all the like brought Emery's all the way to the like every time for the training and that's what Nesta did to show that she cared and that she like had matured as a person was like yeah like this hurt like my sister hurt me but like I can't live without her and like it was more than that though it was the fact that she knew that Rysand couldn't live without Feyre and like that Cassian couldn't live without Rysand like
Yeah.
it was more than like she probably could have let them go but she knew that the others couldn't.
Hmm.
It was, yeah. I was bawling my eyes out. It was bad. It
It
was so
was
bad.
so bad because like you'd see Cassian's point of view, and it was like like him watching Rhysand and watching Feyre die, and it's like, oh my God.
It's like Empire of Storms when you heard all the things and the mating bond break and like all of that at the end of Empire of Storms and like how heartbroken you felt. Like the fact that literally Sarah J. Maas can like take a book and make it like reality and you literally feel like the heartbreak or like the emotions of it is just insane because it's like I can still visibly see that in my brain and like feel exactly what it was like.
Same.
But it's fake.
Yeah. It's just words on paper, but it's not. Like,
Maybe I just have issues, but
no, bro, I am with you.
it is literally just word, it's ink on a page, but it literally it takes up your entire mind and your heart. It literally captures your heart. And it's like,
I thought it was cute how after like everyone's like, okay, Favor's safe, like they're having a moment with their son, like, everything. And Nesta just like kind of says to Cassian quietly, like, oh, and I'm like able to have like Illyrian babies now. Like I made that change. And I was like, that's so cute.
yeah, it's like they were gonna have a life.
Yeah. A few things I want to mention. One, it is the spiciest book out of all of the Akatar books. Like I've seen like someone put like what chapters of the books like have spice and Silver according to Silver Flames is like this chapter, this chapter, this chapter, this chapter.
The difference is it's just it happening in like all the other books, it's like meaningful.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Just the fact that this book it talks so like it was so sad for me because of Nesta's like being like, oh, I'm not good enough for anyone, and like her that was her mindset the whole entire time. And I think that being the case, like the mental health aspect of it, not that her life was in danger a bunch of times, but just like she was fighting herself, like self-loathing. That fact just made it the saddest book, I feel like, in all of the Akatar series, for me at least. Because it was like throughout the whole thing. Like in the other books, it was like, this happened, she almost died. That was really sad. We move on. But like this one was like the whole time, and I was like, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. I could agree. But at the same time, like I Accord of Mist and Fury just like forever holds my heart. So
Yeah, I love that book. That one's my, yeah.
it's just such a beautiful book. So what do we think is gonna happen in the next Akatar book? I'm putting you on the
I
spot, but I was just thinking about that. I'm like, we should like put out some feelers. Because this is, oh my gosh, we went through this so fast. This is the end of the Akatar series.
yeah.
Okay, so what do we think is gonna happen next?
I I want an Azrael story.
I do too.
Or at least like if it's like a bigger book like War was, where it's like a bunch of different characters and their stories, I'd be fine if it was like more of all of them, like Cassian and Nesta, Rhysand and Feyre, and then Azrael and whoever he ends up with, like that story, and then maybe Elaine and Lucian, or maybe it's like, or maybe it'll be Azrael and hopefully Gwen and Elaine and Lucian, because everyone's like Elaine and Azrael, but what if you showed both of their stories, saying like this isn't how it's gonna be, but here's like their stories. I don't know. I just want an Azrael Gwen story so bad.
I want an Azrael book, but I also could definitely see her doing a book about Mor and like what she was doing. And like the last thing that she said, the last interview, she said that this book that she's writing, the next Akatar book, is going to be the most emotionally breaking or something like that. And the
How
fact
can it get worse?
I know. So Silver Flames was awful. So that makes me think it's either more well, it's either Elaine or Mor in my brain. But she also said that the next book, was it the next book? Where it talks about Azrael? She talked about Azrael.
I don't know if it's gonna be the next book, but she mentioned that comment, and so obviously there's gonna be a book with Azrael as the main character.
I hope it's the next one. I love him so much.
I know, but I just hope Elaine's not gonna be with him.
Well, listen, I didn't like Nesta, and now I do. So maybe it could be a story like that.
I know, but I'm like an Azrael and Gwen shipper
I
for
know.
life. Like at first it was like, oh, I think they'd be cute, but now I'm like really, really shipping them.
Or there could be the book that combines all three series. There needs to be that book. Like if she's not creating, if she doesn't have that in her brain, she's doing something wrong.
I feel like she might do that later on. Like I feel like she's gonna make more Crescent City books, and then that like it's gonna be like an Infinity War Endgame situation where at the very end it'll like combine everything, and then that's gonna be the end. I mean, obviously Marvel has like phase one, phase two, phase three, whatever, but like I feel like that might be how it is.
I can't believe there would be more Crescent City books though.
Well, there's only three.
Okay, but the third one is like massive. Do you see the size of that thing?
Yeah.
It's 838 pages, but it's so tall.
Yeah, but I feel like at the end they're like basically we have to rebuild everything. And I feel like that could be like I don't know. I feel like there would be problems with that, like people fighting the power and stuff.
Also, this book is my most beautiful book that I own. Other than
It's
Fourth
really
Wings,
pretty.
but like
Mhm.
it's just so beautiful and like the inside. It's just
Yeah.
so. Anyways, I have, I kid you not, two chapters left to write that are planned. That are planned. So I could add more.
Yeah.
However, I already it is 200 pages. So like
I'm
I'm
so
impressed.
excited.
But I have like two chapters left, and I literally think I might finish it tomorrow. If not, I will finish it next week. And I'm like, because I want to go through it before I send it to you, but at the same time, I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how did I pull together? Like, it's gonna be like 225 pages, a 225-page book, like, so it's like a 400-page book in 3 months,
That's it took me 2 years for mine.
which is may I'm nervous that it's not gonna make any sense.
No, I think it's gonna be good, and I'm so excited to read it.
Good. I'm nervous about your second book because it's already destroying me.
I just need to say that I haven't written anything since that scene I sent you because I'm so distraught after it. Like, I kid you not, I'm so depressed. Like, I'll think about it going to bed or waking up, and I'm like, why the fuck did I do that? But like,
Why did you do that?
it will add to some to it, and like, you need like emotion in it, and it'll make sense at the end. Because I'm like, I have a plan, but I'm like, I like the scene is so beautifully written. I feel like complimenting myself, but like, but like, I love it. Like, it's so emotional, but it's so emotionally draining. And I'm like, how do I write more? And I feel
I know
like I
what you're
need to write more before that scene, like at least one more chapter before it.
I know what you're talking about with it being like emotionally draining because when I wrote the end of mine, I couldn't write for like a couple weeks because I was like, I don't know what to do. Would you rather do the stairs or the blood rice? That's terrible.
Uh, are we doing that one?
I don't know.
Yeah, we can do that one.
Okay.
Um, Probably the blood right.
What? Okay. I thought that was gonna be an easy answer, and you're like, no, I'm gonna do the blood right, where we basically have to like
Listen, there's 10,000 stairs. I'd lose my mind. Just all of that. I would like I'd be thinking about so many things and I'd lose my mind because you can't listen to music. There's no iPhones or anything like that. Just 10,000 steps of pure silence. Just your thoughts. And she was already going through it, right? And so just adding on to it, I'm surprised she didn't jump out, just like roll down the steps or something. Just like and the blood right would be entertaining. Like I'd have to like I wouldn't have to think that much. Well, I'd have to think about like surviving, but like I wouldn't have to overthink about my life. And that's the goal. That's always the goal. So
you could sing to yourself when you're walking down the stairs.
10,000 steps. I'm surprised she didn't like get a sled and just like yeet herself down.
Mattress surfing.
I love mattress surfing.
Dude, why didn't she mattress surf? What the heck?
No, I feel like
Missed opportunity there. I
yeah,
would mattress surf down these stairs, bro. That's my answer.
that's a good answer.
It'd be good for my calves and
Mm-hmm.
my thighs.
But she wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to stand up. I'd sit on the mattress.
Okay, I was actually talking about if I actually walked the stairs, but yes, I would sit
Oh,
on them. Yes.
yeah. No, especially the shape I'm in now. No, definitely not the stairs.
Oh boy.
Dude, that one time I was like, I just did a warm up and I'm up day. I lasted 3 days working out and then I stopped. And then I've worked out like a handful of times since then, and that was like a month ago. So
You gotta think about it like you're training.
I know. But there's no, I need a hot guy to motivate me because I'd be motivated to lift like 500-pound weights just so that they, like, if they're watching me, I'd be so motivated. I'd be distracted and I'd be nervous and anxious as hell, but I'd be motivated. Especially if it was Cassian and with his tattoos and like
So
the flirting they already had going on. Like,
we just need to get you a gym bro.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Are you like, why are we here?
We always take some turn, and it always has to deal with you being single. And it either has to deal with and it either ends in Dorian or ends in Cassian. One of the two. Literally every time. Every single time.
I love
Every
this
time.
so much.
You're gonna be so disappointed when you see the world outside.
I know. I try not to go outside.
Well,
No, it's so funny because if I was Nesta, I'd be like, so I'm just supposed to sit in this house, right? Work out with this really hot man. I'm stuck in this house with two Illyrian warriors that are so attractive. I can read smutty books and I have my group of friends. I'd be like, I am never leaving, and the house will provide me with anything I wanted. If I was too lazy, I could just lay in bed and be like, can you just like pop up a whole buffet? And then like and like give me like 10 smutty books and a buffet and I'll just be sitting in bed. And be like, can I have a hot tub over here? Can you just can you just magically send Captain into my room at 3 a.m.?
You are not okay. So we just figured out what your dream in life is. Unfortunately, that is not physically possible.
Why?
A, because the House of Wind does not exist. B, because those men do not exist. C, because you're not training for something like that. I don't know what part of that could actually exist other than the fact that you're working out and training. Unless, and maybe you find a guy to help you. I think this podcast has become therapy for you.
It really has.
And people don't think we're funny.
Dude, that TikTok that's like, is anyone gonna match my freak? I
That was
just
fun.
love, I just love how I can say these unhinged things and you just add on to it. And I'm like, yep, yep. It took 20 years to get here, but I finally found someone like me.
Nope, exactly. I just spit. Oh my gosh. It's so true though. We both say out of pocket things and then we think that it can't get any worse and then the other person just piles on. It's so funny. It's like we were like the soulmates. But
I know, I know.
universe went, we're gonna have these two meet in class. And they're both gonna hate it. But they're gonna bond over a book.
Yes. We started by trauma bonding over to class, and now we're trauma bonding over books.
Facts. Literally facts. That's hilarious. Wow. Anyways,
Anyways,
this was reading between the lines. I'm gonna say that before I forget. Thank you for listening. Next time is Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. We have a special guest joining us for that.
okay,
Okay,
bye.
bye.